All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. We got CPI inflation data today. It is Wednesday. CPI data drops at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. What's up, Big Slum? Rick, Kato, Lag, Ace, Steve, Jonathan, Chan, Seth, P. What's up, chat? Yeah, so it's been a kind of a crazy few days here, in all honesty. It's been kind of a crazy few days. Yesterday, number one, we first got today news that the German economy minister says the IEA asked nations to release 400 million barrels of oil. So that news came out. We also had news yesterday that a ship successfully got through the Strait of Hormuz. This was posted by U.S. Energy Secretary Wright, but he's now removed that post. Basically deleted that post. And again, the post was talking about how the U.S. Navy escorted an oil tanker through the strait. And then that post was deleted. And so we got like a little rebound from that post, and then that post was deleted. And then we got another a clarification on that. We had Griffin post on X, quote, "I am told from a well-placed place that military sources that no U.S. military asset has escorted any oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz as of yet, despite claims from the Energy Secretary Wright." White House source says the post was premature, and so I'm assuming that ship got attacked. That's what I'm assuming here. That they thought it might get through, they posted it might get through, and then something happened is what I'm guessing. And yeah, let me check up of what's up, Mama Pawn. The ship went through without escort. More ships were struck this morning. Yeah, just to put this into perspective regarding the IEA reserve release, 400 million barrels would be larger than any past IEA emergency release, including the Russia-Ukraine 2020 drawdown. So this is a big signal. Even if they don't pull the full 400 million, the fact that they formally asked for that scale of a release is one of the main reasons crude has stopped going up and started trading sideways. That's what you got to understand. But that's a big release. I think it shows some panic as well, to be honest. So I do think it shows some panic in terms of the IEA asking nations to release 400 million barrels of oil. And this was reported by the German economy minister, saying the IEA asked nations to release 400 million barrels of oil. So a lot of officials are talking about oil releases this morning ahead of CPI. We do have CPI inflation data at 8:30 today, guys. But yeah. What's up, Demetrius? Yeah, there's news of ships getting attacked. Yesterday, G7 ministers stopped short of, pulling the trigger on that stuff, saying if needed, but want more analysis first regarding reserve releases. The IEA is now preparing what could be the largest emergency release ever if they do go ahead, potentially bigger than the 182 million barrels we saw in 2022 get released after the invasion in Russia and invasion of Ukraine. Trump aides say the SPR release is on the table, but some people argue it's a half measure that doesn't fix the Strait of Hormuz problems. And it's rainy over here on my end, guys. It's kind of cold and rainy on my end. But yeah, ship attacks are still there. At least 3 ships were struck in or near the Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Gulf, including a Thai bulk carrier and a container ship that caught fire with crews evacuating. So UK maritime trade operations and other monitors now count more than 12 maritime incidents since this conflict started, and reports suggest at least 17 non-Iranian ships have been attacked overall: tankers, bulkers, container ships, and more. The US says it destroyed 16 Iranian vessels near Hormuz to stop them from mining the area, but they're still launching drones and other stuff there, so still not good. NASDAQ pulling back here. We did have NBA 30-year mortgage data come out earlier as well, though. But yeah, the German economy minister says oil markets are currently overly sensitive, driven by speculation. That is why measures will have dampening effects on prices. U.S. and Japan will be the largest contributors to the IEA release of reserves. But yeah, this is the big breaking news, is that the U.S. and Japan, is that the IEA asked them to release 400 million barrels of reserve oil. That is a very big report, and U.S. and Japan are going to be the biggest releases. We also heard from Japan earlier today. Let me see where I saw some Japan news earlier. Let me make sure I cover it. But I did see some Japan news regarding releases. Japan to release oil reserves by itself as soon as Monday. Germany is going to partially release national oil reserves. And Japan's prime minister said to curb gas prices at 170 yen per liter on average. So that is what we got going on today. But yeah, this news is what's shaking markets right here. If you take 20 out of your wallet. Yeah, oil sitting at $85 a barrel right now. It went as high as 89s, but it has stabilized since earlier this week when it went crazy after the weekend strikes that we saw here, and, you know, news about more tankers getting attacked and the Strait of Hormuz being basically closed. Oil sitting at $85 a barrel right now. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Toronto thunderstorms as well. Let's do a poll here today. We have CPI inflation. And so we're going to ask, does today's CPI inflation print show higher or lower than expected? We asked this question yesterday. And what's expected today? 2.4%, I think, on the year. All right, so there we go. The poll is now live. You can vote on that. It was a medium plasma PP guy with microscope. Yeah, there's more news about Dubai and others getting hit, but Germany economy minister is still speaking. He said oil markets are currently overly sensitive, driven by speculation. That is why measures will have dampening effects on prices. The president also just tweeted about Clay Fuller is going to be a fantastic congressman and representing the great state of Georgia. But again, the Germany economy minister said U.S. and Japan is going to be the largest contributors of the IEA release of reserve oil. Bitcoin, if we take a look at Bitcoin today, sitting at 69.5s right now, 69.5s, really flat, kind of where it was yesterday when I looked at it last. So Bitcoin's still sideways. And I think today's inflation report is going to be relevant. I think today's inflation report is obviously going to be relevant. John, what do you think of the outcome of today's CPI report? I'm really not sure. I really don't know what we're going to get. I'll give a prediction a little bit later, but I really don't know. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Looking at our poll numbers, 77% of people think we're going to show up higher than expected for today's CPI print. 23% think lower than expected. So 78% now think higher than expected for today's CPI print. And if we take a look at what we're expecting here today for CPI data, like if we take a look at this, CPI data is expected to show up at 0.3% on the month for regular CPI, 2.4% on the year for year-over-year headline CPI. Core is expected at 2.5 versus 2.5 last time and 0.2%. So core is expected to contract 0.1% down to 0.2% today. And headline CPI is expected to uptick 0.1% versus 0.2% last time, is what I'm showing here. We also have Bowman speaking at 8:30. And I did see somebody else is going to be speaking on, let me see, I saw some news earlier that somebody else is going to be speaking sometime. I think it's at like 9 o'clock. We're going to get some type of update today. Let me see what it is. I'll have to go find it. I want to say It's somebody speaking about oil today at 9 o'clock, but I'm not 100% sure here. We did have NBA 30-year mortgage rates show up as well today already. They showed up at, I believe, 6.19%. Yeah, 6.19% for NBA 30-year mortgage rates. Mortgage applications were at 3.2%. Previous, they were at 11%, so they did dip from previously, but still up. Still positive. It's not Chair Powell speaking at 9 o'clock. Yeah, Oracle had a great report, and we are in Oracle right now. So I was thinking about selling it, to be honest, ahead of this report. I'm glad I didn't. Oracle up to 163s as we speak here with Oracle. So, yeah, are we in a stagflation environment, guys? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I hope not. Are we in a stagflation environment? But yeah, oil is the big watch today, obviously. I think oil is, yeah, so there are reports about residents hearing blasts in Dubai. And so we are hearing reports about that in Dubai, about strikes in Dubai. Yeah, and the story of this inflation report is, are we seeing a slowdown in prices? If we take a look at a CPI inflation graph here, this is CPI inflation heading into this report. So inflation has gone down. Last time it was 2.4% for January. This is February's reading. Now remember, this inflation report is not going to show the gas increases that we've seen, because most of the gas spikes that we saw started in March. So if we look at this, most of these prices in gas, here's March 1st right here. So March 1st is right here. And so most of the gas increases that we've seen are going to be cut off from the CPI report that we get today. So we're not really going to have the gas price fluctuation, but shelter inflation is a relevant thing. Last time for January, headline showed up at 2.4%. And so we have been on a downtrend since 2022's crazy inflation spike to 9%. But today we'll get an update on it. Hey, what's up, Chef? What's up, Rick? Economy is growing, so thus not stagnating. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's true. What about the negative 92,000 jobs report we got last Friday, though? You know, and so last Friday we got a negative 92,000 jobs report, and not a good jobs report. And so if that's the case, then, you know, I don't know if that's necessarily doing well. Maybe you could argue it's not necessarily stagnating. It depends on if we continue to see stuff like that. We've seen weak jobs data for about 6 months now, to be honest. Yeah, we've seen weak jobs data for like 6 months now. And so the question is, do we continue to see those trends? And what does inflation look like now? Because if we look at this here, we're a little bit lower for CPI inflation than we were last year. But yeah, Oracle killed it overnight. Nvidia so far this morning here, Chad, is sitting at 185. So it's all the way back up to 180s. Probably some sympathy movement going on right here. The NASDAQ was green the last time I looked at it. It is now turned and gone red on the day. But it's basically been chopping over and under 25,000. And so if we look at 25,000 here, here's 25K. We've basically been chopping over and under and over and under that. And so, and again, we do have CPI data today. So CPI data could cause the rest of the market to be more apprehensive ahead of it. Like they might trade less volume, less interest in trading. Strong job numbers with AI is kind of gone. If bad jobs report continues, it'll show up in GDP. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, you got to understand though, the last GDP report we got wasn't necessarily good either, if I remember correctly. We saw that Putin spoke with the UAE president by phone, according to some news sources. And again, this is after Dubai residents reported hearing blasts. We got that reported not that long ago as well. But yeah, the last GDP report showed up at 1.4% for quarter four. It was expected at like a much higher number, like 100% higher is what it was expected at. And the previous quarter showed up much stronger than that. But the last GDP report showed up at 1.4% for the first revision. Now, we do get another revision of that this Friday. We get quarter four first revision GDP this Friday. We also have PCE inflation dropping at the same time. And then we have JOLT, another job report, dropping at 10 a.m. on Friday as well. But you could argue we're seeing some contractions in GDP Yeah, if we take a look at yields this morning ahead of CPI today, guys, if we take a look at yields ahead of CPI, 4.169% here, 4.169%. And so yields not really doing too much over the last day, but we have seen rebounds in yields. Yields were dumping after all the craziness and stuff. We've seen some stabilization in sentiment is what we're seeing right now. And so you can see yields going a little bit higher, but we're seeing some stabilization in sentiment. Yields bouncing back. You know, when we first opened up for the weekend yields, they were super high, over 4.2% on all the craziness, and then they dipped back down, and now we're kind of slowly finding our way back up. CPI inflation will influence this. If we get high inflation, yields are going to go up. If we get low inflation, yields are going to go down probably. And so that's the dynamic to understand here. Yields and interest rates are going to move with inflation data. The higher inflation is, the less green light we have to cut interest rates. And so if inflation data is hot, you'll see yields go up because that's markets pricing in higher interest rate sentiment, basically, with yields. But currently yields, we'll see what happens. They're at 4.165%. If we take a look at rate odds, it's not looking very likely that we're going to cut rates. Next week is the FOMC decision. At this point in time, you can look at this and see that we're really, oh my gosh, what did it just do? Dude, I didn't even know you could do this on Google, bro. I don't even know what Google just did. They just connected. They connected my stream and look at this. They just connected my stream and the FOMC thing. I don't know how they did it. I don't even know how to get out of this now, though. Can I exit? Okay, you're gonna force me to use it. Can I drag it away? No, I'm just gonna have to exit out of all of it. That's all right. All right, guys. I'm going to come back here. NASDAQ bouncing off of that 200 exponential. It's a trap. Make sure I got this thing up, though. Oh, I gotta pop out my chat. That's what I'm missing. What's your favorite asset to buy ahead of CPI today? We're back at 5 minute orb low for the session open. Gold. Yeah, let's take a look at gold here today, guys. So NASDAQ under the 200 exponential currently. Gold still sitting right around 5,200 where it was yesterday. Silver at 86.70s right now. And traders are going to start focusing on inflation data today. Drone stocks, coffee and diapers, nothing. Make a prediction of today's CPI. John, I will. It's just not right now, brother. It's just not right now. I will, though. I'll make a prediction. Spain removes ambassador to Israel, according to official state gazette. Reeves says will be dislocation in labor market. Response needed. So UK Chancellor Reeves is still speaking. He said there will be dislocation in the labor market. A response is needed. Ships moving to Iranian ports are, quote, passing normally, according to MEHR News. Iranian ports operations are carried out continuously, according to MEHR News. That news just dropped. Drones and gold. Will gold ever come back down? I don't know, brother. Maybe. Values, metals, and dividends. What's up, chef? Good checkboard. What percentage do you think CPI will show up as today? I'm going to ask you guys this before I give my prediction so everybody doesn't piggyback off of mine. Because mine might be wildly wrong. It might be right, it might be wrong. 2.2%, 2.7. So I'm seeing 2.2%, 2.7%. Fiber optic for data components are hot, 2.5. Yeah, I'm going to go with 3%. I don't think we're showing up at 3%. I think if we do show up at 3%, it'll be kind of scary. So I don't think 3%. But you never freaking know, man. We can show up at whatever. They don't, we really don't know. Yeah, last time I don't know what I predicted here for CPI inflation. I think I don't know what I predicted last time. I think I got it right last time, didn't I? So I must have predicted 2.4. And we expected, I'm going to go with slightly higher though now. Today we're expecting 2.4. I'm going to go with 2.5. I'm going to go with 2.4 as expected, or 2.5 is what I'm going to go with today. I might be wildly wrong. Do not copy me. I am not an investment professional. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the script here and just do as expected, 2.4% as expected. Yeah, February is a short month. That's a dynamic to take into account here. I'll probably trade a little bit ahead of CPI. All right, so EU Commission spokesperson says that the European Oil Coordination Group will discuss the IEA request on oil stocks tomorrow. They said, we are exploring subsidizing or capping the gas price. They said the EU's emergency oil stocks are full. We stand ready to take all necessary measures in coordination with IEA members. And this is after the German economy minister came out earlier today, guys. The big news today, honestly, that we've seen is that the Germany economy minister came out earlier and said that the IEA asked nations to release 400 million barrels of oil from reserves. This would be the largest emergency release ever, I think, including over 2022's numbers. And yeah, that's the big news story today. Oil, let's take a look at it. Here's oil. Oil's still flat on the day ahead of CPI, but bonds will get whacked if that's true. They will make it 2.7 to get the market to crash. I don't know if they want it to crash here necessarily, but we'll see. We'll see, guys. CPI inflation today is relevant. We'll see. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's boost the stream a little bit today if you haven't already, guys. We appreciate it. That's only 20 days of oil coming out the Strait. Yeah, the Strait. We're still getting rumors of attacks and stuff like that. None of them are really confirmed quite yet. But again, yesterday, Energy Secretary Wright posted that the U.S. Navy successfully escorted a ship through the Strait of Hormuz, and then not very long afterwards retracted it, deleted that post, and so apparently it wasn't true. I'm assuming that ship did get attacked, or that maybe the U.S. Navy didn't actually escort it, is what we saw. Yeah, it's a band-aid, of course. I mean, it's not a fix. I don't think anybody expects it to be a fix, but it might calm oil prices somewhat here. Japan, again, said to release 15 days worth of private sector oil reserves and 1 month worth of state oil reserves, says Prime Minister Takaichi. We did have news earlier today that JP Morgan reportedly tightening lending while a $33 billion fund sees heavy redemptions. Oracle beat Q3 earnings estimates, raised revenue outlook to $90 billion. Came in at $179 a share compared to $170 expected. Revenue came in at $17.19 billion for Oracle. We are in Oracle right now. You love to see this gap up here. And again, we got CPI inflation data today, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time today, CPI inflation data. Gareth Soloway calling 84,000 Bitcoin bull trap. Didn't he short Bitcoin at like 30K or something? I don't dislike him necessarily. Looking at our poll numbers, we did a poll. Almost everybody thinks that we're going to have higher inflation. 73%. We did a poll yesterday and it was basically this as well. 73% today think higher than expected. 27% think lower than expected. Yeah. Did I pull up the wrong chat here? Okay, I did. I'm looking at yesterday's chat here, and I'm curious. I was like, why is everybody saying bye? I don't understand. Apparently, this was yesterday's chat, where I asked the same question, apparently. Let me pull up today's chat. Yeah, today's chat shows the same thing. 72% of people expecting inflation to be higher than expected. 28% think lower than expected. Yeah, let me get a timer up. I got you guys. Hold on. All right, so we have what? How much time we have left? We have 45 minutes. All right, guys. Yeah, CPI inflation data. I'm going to put it up right here. But yeah, look at Oracle. $20.26. It's not coming back. I'm calling a bottom Thursday, July 23rd, 2036. Just some math I worked out. So got it. In 10 years, you're calling a bottom. Okay. In 10 years, I'm going to be like, hey, I remember you. You know? The dollar. Yeah, let's take a look at the dollar here. Dollar up to 99. So it's down a little bit over the last few days, though, on more stabilization here. It was at 99.70. It's at 98.90s now. So it is down a little bit from where it was a few days ago with some more stabilization and sentiment is the easiest way to put it. All right, so we did have Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya on Tehran's policy of reciprocal hits has ended. Will carry out continuous strikes from now on in a statement. We also had Israeli defense minister say that the conflict will continue without any time limit. Iranian Shipping Association tells Mer News that ships moving to Iranian ports are passing normally and Iran's ports operations are carried out continuously. I meant 2026. Okay, I was gonna say here something was off. Dollar is cooked, no question. Look at oil spike a little bit right now, guys. Oil spiking up to $87. $87. This might be after Iran's Khatam spokesperson says Tehran's policy of reciprocal hits has ended. Will carry out continuous strikes from now on in a statement. And the Iranian Shipping Association tells Mer News ships moving to Iranian ports are passing normally. U.S. asked Romania to temporarily host its refueling planes as well. Iran's Khatam spokesperson tells U.S. it won't be able to control oil price with artificial measures. Get ready for $200 oil barrel in a statement they just published here. So look at this. This is probably what's spiking oil just now. If we take a look at the NASDAQ here, I'm wondering if the NASDAQ is dropping with this. But this news that I just covered is what's dropping the NASDAQ and spiking the price of oil here. Look, here it is right here. This statement right here that I just posted. Look, this statement right here. He basically said, get ready for $200 a barrel oil. NASDAQ falling down, oil popping higher here, although oil is basically flat on the day still. What's up, Yair? Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ's dipping down because of the statement right here. You can see the statement on the bottom right over there. Again, Iran's Khatam Al-Anbiya spokesperson tells U.S. it won't be able to control oil prices with artificial measures, meaning reserve releases. Get ready for $200 a barrel oil. $200 a barrel oil. On that news, NASDAQ dipped, oil spiked. NASDAQ still dipping here. We have a support level at 942 that I'm watching here on the NQ though. Big range but choppy day. Heading into CPI inflation in 40 minutes. But yeah, that news is probably moving markets some. As well as the news that the U.S. asked Romania to temporarily host its refueling planes. So again, Iran's Khatam Al-Anbiya spokesperson said a couple things. They said Tehran's policy of reciprocal hits has ended and will carry out continuous strikes from now on in a statement. He also tells the U.S. it won't be able to control oil prices with artificial measures. Get ready for $200 a barrel oil. What's up, Jay? What's up, Sarge? Still about 73% think today's inflation print is going to show up higher than expected. I'm going to go with flat, although I really don't know what we're going to get. We're still watching oil. CPI full port. Yeah, guys. So again, what are we going to buy today ahead of this report? I might day trade. But ahead of CPI, who knows? Here's the last CPI graph we got. We have slowly been creeping down to 2.4% that we showed up last time for CPI inflation. If you look at the trend, full degen in CPI. What happens if CPI is higher or lower? We really don't know. We really don't know what we're going to get if CPI is higher. Higher is generally bad. Lower is generally good, though, to a point. So higher is good. Or higher's bad, lower's good, is essentially what it is. That's the normal market reaction. It could always move differently. Look at NASDAQ's spike here, guys. NASDAQ spiking, oil is dipping here. Let me check breaking news. So the NASDAQ is spiking and oil is dipping here. Still watching. Iran came out just now saying it has full capability to block the Strait of Hormuz. Look at the NASDAQ move here, though. Something popped the NASDAQ up. Look at that jump here. You guys, Israeli officials acknowledge no certainty that war on Iran will lead to collapse of its clerical system, according to a senior Israeli official. Yeah, we're still looking at breaking news to see what's going on here, but NASDAQ just had a big spike. I don't know where it came from. Maybe that news about it's not going to influence the collapse of its clerical system, according to an official in Israel. Yeah, the NASDAQ just jumped up to the 200 exponential, though. We're still looking at other breaking news. I don't see anything. And again, inflation data today is relevant. Bitcoin is dumping down. Is it really? I don't know if this is a dump necessarily. I mean, this is coming from somebody that says rip for everything, but seems like it's a pretty small move, all things considered. This is a 1 minute chart too, so. Yeah, we got news about the Tide tanker getting hit in the Strait of Hormuz earlier. Whatever it was didn't really influence things too much here. Expected data today, 2 point. You can see the expected numbers in big red letters at the bottom of the screen here, chat. Yeah, so Iran has launched another wave of missiles, is some breaking news releases that we've gotten. 3 vessels hit by projectiles in the Strait of Hormuz. But again, Iran vowed to block Gulf oil exports. They said it would not allow a single leader through the Strait of Hormuz for the U.S., Israel, or allies, according to sources. Israel assesses that Trump not close to instructing into war, and Israeli official acknowledged no certainty that the war on Iran will collapse the clerical system there. Bitcoin is falling down. It's at 69,000 here. And again, look at oil. Oil has 86.5s. 86.5s for oil. High CPI. We'll see. Honestly, this week's a busy week, man. We got a lot of stuff going on this week. We have economic reports. We got inflation data. We got GDP data coming out on Friday. So again, Israel assesses that Trump is not close to instructing the end to the conflict. Oil sitting right at this previous closing price. See if we can trade some here. Yeah, we're going to try to trade this. Jerome Powell didn't speak today. No. Yeah, Jerome Powell didn't speak. Yeah, Powell didn't speak today. We're still waiting for Powell to schedule the semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress, which he has to do twice a year. Oracle, good earnings. Yeah, I'm in Oracle. Oracle's up big. That's nice. Yeah, well, CPI includes energy prices. So CPI, headline CPI does include energy prices. Core CPI excludes food and energy, just to put this in perspective, right? So core CPI excludes food and energy. A lot of people think that is a more accurate look at inflation, is looking at core inflation, which excludes food and energy prices, which people consider volatile. Today's report, just to put this in perspective though, for February, oil started spiking in March. Like really, it was like on March 1st. We saw a little bit of oil increases up to like maybe $65, $67 a barrel for oil, but it really didn't get over 70 until March 1st. And so most of the oil swings that we've seen here, are going to be in the March report. Most of them are going to be in the March report. Now we did get a little bit of upward movement at the end of February here. So you can kind of see oil. This is on the 27th, the 28th. So we did see some oil increasing, but it was mostly rumors. Yeah, I remember that Friday. We had rumors of a conflict happening over the weekend, and then over that weekend, the conflict actually happened, and that's what spiked the oil prices from there. This is February's CPI report. We always get it the month. It's for the month. It's always for the month prior. Yeah, gas prices probably didn't move up from March, and so yeah. or until March. That's probably true. And so again, we're not going to see too much of the inflation reflected on this inflation report. It'll be next month's report. We do have PCE inflation though at the end of this week as well. But all right, Chad, get ready. Big inflation report going out live, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We have about 33 minutes left. 33 minutes left. NASDAQ is very choppy here, guys. What's the trade? Gold, silver, basically flat over the last few days. Some stabilization. We had rumors of strikes in Dubai. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to look at the 1 minute chart just because we're looking at market reactions to news. And so looking at a 5 or 10 minute chart when news comes out makes absolutely no sense. And so, yeah, we're going to look at a 1 minute chart because we're covering news here, sir. Today's CPI is very important. Yeah, we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. We got about 1,000 here already, so hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Yields ahead of this report again at 4.165% is what I'm showing here. So yields are up a little bit on the day. We have seen some stabilization and things, so yields have risen some. Honestly, the market is as confused as we are. Buy the dip, sell the rips. What do you guys think the market will do today? I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll see. It's a relevant report, though. We're going to trade all day today, but we'll see what we get. Random stocks will pump. Just got to find one. I think we keep getting lower highs. We're cooked. All right, so U.S. sitcom says U.S. force continuing to deliver devastating combat power against Iran. Said they are striking hard every day. Struck over 5,000 targets in Iran, including over 60 ships. This is U.S. CENTCOM saying U.S. force continuing to deliver combat power against Iran, saying they're striking hard every day. Yeah, we'll see what the CPI report shows. We'll see. Yields are up a little bit. NASDAQ is down. And again, let's look at the trend of CPI reports here. Just let me know once we invade. Will we invade Iran? Yeah, they're hitting stuff in the Strait. I'm surprised the oil's not up so much, but the big news that we got this morning, and just to clarify this news, is the Germany economy minister said that the IEA asked them, is asking nations to release, was it 3 or 400 million? It is 400 million barrels of oil. The IEA asked nations to release 400 million barrels of reserve oil. Yeah, so this news, I'll put it up in chat right now. The Germany economy minister asking IEA, said the IEA asked nations to release 400 million barrels of oil. That's the big story today. That might be why oil hasn't jumped as much as we thought it could, with more escalations in Iran. 86.40s right now on oil. So oil is basically flat. This previous closing price is right here at 86.30, 86.39. Is what we'll call it. The NASDAQ is honestly pretty flat, so I think markets are waiting for the CPI report. But this news that I just posted right here, 400 million barrels of oil, which would be the largest emergency release ever. Just to put this in perspective, I think in 2022, after the conflict with Ukraine, I think the largest previously was 182 million. It could be the largest emergency release ever if they do go ahead with this. Again, bigger than the 182 million barrels released in 2022. Trump aides did say on the release that it's on the table, but there's still kind of arguments about whether it's actually going to happen that way. Comes out at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time today, guys. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We have about 30 minutes left until this drop. 30 minutes. All right, chat. Iran military spokesperson says we won't allow a single liter of hostile oil to pass through Hormuz. So we did get this news that recently came out just now as well here. Look at this. So an Iran military spokesperson says we won't allow a single liter of hostile oil to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. NVIDIA is also going to invest $2 billion into Nebius. Uber inked a deal with Amazon's ZooX to offer robotaxi rides. And remember, the last jobs report showed up bad. Expectations were at 55, 60,000. We ended up showing up negative 92,000. Unemployment rate also went up to 4.32%, from 4.32 to 4.44% in the last jobs report. So if we get a high inflation today, a lot of people are going to be yelling stagflation. Now, this is ahead of next month's report, which is going to have the bigger oil inflation risk. But with that said, Bitcoin here, hold on, let me log into TradeEvade here. As expected, I'm going to go with 2.5%. I'm going to go with 2.5%. The NASDAQ is chopping sideways, though, and oil is pushing up here. I'm going with 2.4, 2.5. I'm going with as expected, maybe slightly higher for inflation data today. As expected or slightly higher. Give me your percentages in chat. What do you guys think we're actually going to show up at for CPI inflation year over year today? I'm going 2.4, 2.5. $2.4, Melody says. 2.6, 2.6, 2.5, 2.8. I hope it doesn't show up at 2.8. I think if it shows up at 2.8, we're in trouble, obviously. If we show up at 2.8. We'll see, but I hope we don't show up at 2.8. I'm showing 2.4% here, 2.6, 2.7. 3.1% would be chaos. Chaos. Elysium said, or SPP says 2.2 to 2.3%. Yeah, I'm going with as expected, maybe slightly higher, but I don't know. Last time we showed up lower than expected, right? 2.5, but we adjusted to 2.9. That honestly might be the best prediction here altogether. 3.3? I don't think so. I hope not. 10%? Everything would crash if we showed up at 10% today, shockingly. Yeah. Well, tariffs are paid by the consumer, so I think higher. 2.5 to 2.8. PPI was much higher. Yeah, PPI was higher, especially for core, right? Like, core PPI did show up pretty hot, if I remember correctly. So core CPI did show up a little heated. And we can see the February CPI forecast. So here's the forecast for February CPI by big banks. This was reported by Nick Timmeros at the Wall Street Journal is the source here. But this is what we're expecting today. Bank of America is expecting 0.27% on the month, 2.4% on the year. Barclays 0.25, 2.4%. BNP 0.22%. Citigroup expecting 0.3% for headline and 2.5% year over year. I'm looking at the large ones. Let's see. Moody's expecting 0.33% over 0.3 and 2.5%. So most people expected between 2.4 and 2.5. Core. Almost nobody's expecting over 0.3% for core though. Most people are expecting almost everybody expecting 2.5 for core, except for Goldman Sachs. They're expecting 2.4%. So I'm going with 2.4. We'll see what happens, but I'm going with 2.4%. But Nick Timrose posted saying Wall Street has inflation as measured by CPI running sideways in February, holding near the lowest 12-month rate in 5 years, at least until April, when the data collections, imputations, distortions from the government shutdown could finally unwind. 2.4 is 2.4 good enough though? I think considering where we're at, yes, 2.4 is good. It's close. It's close to 2.2%. You know, I think 2.4 is good. Goldman on our side. This can't go wrong. Oil still edging higher here. NASDAQ still kind of flat ahead of this report. Qatar says the threat level is high. They're asking people to stay home, according to Qatar. The threat level is high. Ask people to stay home. Again, the Iran military spokesperson said the policy of reciprocal strikes is over. Strikes to be continuous from now on. We won't allow a single liter of hostile oil to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, they say. Hey, what's up, Sergio? Good morning. I think gold and silver will rally and rage after the data. It depends on what the data shows up as, to be honest here. Depends on what we see for the data. You know, we could see either one, to be honest. High inflation could make gold go up. Low inflation could make gold go up. We'll see. Yeah, where are you guys from this morning? Where are you guys from? I'm gonna try to ask people this once a day just to see where the chat's at. I'm in Houston, Texas, but I'm a Louisianian, so cheers to my Louisianian and Texas friends. Romania, Thailand, Seattle, Sweden, Tibet, Toronto, San Diego, Mars, New York City, Michigan. I like Michigan. Michigan's nice. London, hey, that's my last name. Finland, Toronto, LAX, Richmond, India, Dubai, Cali. I forget how many people we have in here, and I think I realize how many people are here. We have like, what, 1,200 people here? Yeah. I forget how many people are really here until I ask people where they're from. Ireland. South Bend, Indiana. Dude, I don't like South Bend at all, bro. Listen, I like South Bend. I like the airport. I like going to the airport. They got fudge. I eat the fudge. The problem with South Bend is every single time I go to their airport, plane gets delayed. I'm sitting there. I've spent days at the South Bend airport. You know, it's nice. It's small. It's better than Chicago's airport. But just because of my history there, I got like PTSD from South Bend, Indiana. Missouri City. Kenya. Hey, what's up, brother? We gave you a great coach. You know, listen. I get it. Oh, wait, you're talking about Coach Kelly? I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. All right, guys, look at oil. Dip. Oil down to 86.70s. German economy minister did give us news this morning that the IEA is asking nations to release 400 million barrels of reserve oil today, ahead of CPI inflation's print in 17 minutes. I was optimistic for Kelly, but I also feel like, hold on. So the Iran's Revolutionary Guards say they fired at a Thai flagged vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is now saying oil will reach $200 a barrel, warns of continuous strikes. They're switching from reciprocal hits, basically meaning like you hit us, we hit you, to just continuous is the news this morning. And they're now warning that oil could hit $200 a barrel, putting more pressure on the U.S. and others. So hey, I can respect Lafayette. Good food over there, bro. You go to a gas station over there, you'll get best food you ever had in your life at Lafayette. Is oil still a buy then? Chat, is it time to buy oil still? Let me know. I don't know. I think it's iffy right now, to be honest. Around 7 companies looking to sell new debt on Wednesday, according to Bloomberg. Swedish government sees 26 GDP growth at 2.8%. Nvidia is going to invest $2 billion in Nebius as well with a partnership. All right, chat. Big inflation report today. Big CPI inflation report. Oh, let's see what we get today. Big inflation report. I think I missed the boat on oil. It's elevated. You know, again, oil, the story is that over a few weeks ago, we started striking Iran. We're on day, what, 12 today? 11 or 12? Oil, we heard rumors of that the Friday prior, and oil had spiked up some the Friday prior. And then it kind of stabilized, and then we did get strikes that weekend. This was back here. And then we opened up, and then we've basically had escalation in the Iran conflict since then. You can see oil rose to 120, and then it faded back down here. So oil still very elevated. And this is after IRGC says they fired at a Thai-flagged vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. And so it's still kind of risky here. We'll see what happens to oil, but it's still risky. All right, guys, we got 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left. Oracle up big on earnings, raised guidance and earnings, BDPS revenue, and raised guidance for Oracle. It's up big. I'm in Oracle right now. I hope it holds, guys. I hope it holds. I hope it holds. We'll see if it does, though. Remember, guys, a hot CPI print can exacerbate the problems we're having right now in markets. So a hot CPI print can make things worse here. We'll see if we get it. But if we get a super high CPI print, this is after PPI prices were higher than expected last week. So PPI higher than expected last time, especially for core, if I remember correctly. And yeah, this time we will see what we get. But if we get a high CPI print, markets could panic again, especially with the oil dynamic not even being included in today's CPI report. So the oil dynamic, from all the spikes in oil that we've seen and the potential inflation in gas prices that we're going to see from this conflict. I'm already experiencing those. Like, I bought 93 octane the other day. It was almost $5 a gallon here in Texas. And in Texas, oil is generally cheap. Gas is generally cheap. Almost $5 a gallon for 93 octane here in Texas. So I'm seeing this conflict reflected in gas prices already. And so if we get a hot CPI print today, it's basically going to be something in which markets might panic, because that means the next CPI print we get next month and the following inflation data we see could be worse here. And remember, the Federal Reserve, if inflation is a big risk, they're not going to cut interest rates as aggressively. Right now, markets are pricing in 2 rate cuts this year. It's not going to be much. It's not going to be until much later on. But that is the story of the day. That is the story of the day. CPI inflation data and how the Iran conflict is going to worsen it potentially over the next few reports. Strait of Hormuz effectively closed. 20% of the world's oil goes through it. And again, the IEA, which is the International Energy Agency, is now potentially proposing nations releasing 300 to 400 million barrels of reserve oil. We heard from Germany's economy minister earlier. Brent crude still pretty high, over $90 a barrel, at some points this morning. WTI, West Texas Intermediate crude, at $87 a barrel as I say this right now. G7 ministers are going to meet later to discuss coordinated stockpile releases. And this is after we've heard more strike news this morning. Specifically, the Revolutionary Guard in Iran said they fired at a Thai-flagged vessel in the Strait. Three ships were hit and drones fell near the Dubai airport as well, is other news that we saw this morning. Here we go. Does oil go up or down relative to where we're at now this week? Do we close the week higher for oil? Do we break back over $100 a barrel this week? We had California gas up to almost $10 a gallon a few years ago. All right, guys, we got about 11 minutes left until CPI inflation data. About 11 minutes. So we still got some time here. But let's see what we get. Oil, $87 a barrel. NASDAQ flat on the day here. Flat on the day. I might trade this a little bit ahead of this report. But, yeah. My name is John. John. 10 minutes full port. Liquefied natural gas is the real play. Yeah, well, obviously we've seen restrictions in that as well. Short or long, John? I really don't know, brother. I think this is one of those situations where personally, I think we're going to come in right around as expected. And so the question, how we move from that, is up in the air. I'm really not sure. Are you sure your name isn't Max? No, it's not. What's up, Don? John Wick? I know that would have been a great name, John Wicks. Should have used it. Okay, so Iranian officials are saying their supreme leader Khamenei was lightly injured but still continuing to operate, according to reports. Long John Silver. Silver and gold kind of flat the last few days. They might be waiting for this inflation report, but here we go, guys. 10 minutes left. 10 minutes. Max Payne or Max Power? Gas prices aren't as bad as they were in 2022. All right, chat. CPI inflation. And we have seen some better trends for CPI. Here's a 6-month chart for CPI inflation data that we've seen over the last 6 months, guys. So here's a 6-month chart. We have seen some stabilization. Month over month looks like it's upticking a little bit though lately, but we'll see. Will they release the oil stockpiles? Question. I don't know. John Wayne. All right, chat, here we go. Again, expectations for today. Expectations for today about, I think month over month headline inflation is expected to uptick slightly, if I remember correctly. Slight uptick for headline month over month inflation. This is with about 8 minutes left, 7 minutes. Headline inflation month over month expected to go up 0.1%. It was 0.2% last time. They're expecting consumer price index headline inflation month over month at 0.3% today. Year over year is expected to stay the same. It was at 2.4 last time. It was 2.4 expected this time. I'm going 2.4 to 2.5 is my guess. Core CPI expected at 0.2%. It's expected to decrease. I don't know if this decrease is going to stay in the following months, though, because we have seen gas obviously go up since the conflict has started. We got Bowman starting to speak at 8:30 as well. But yeah, headline CPI expected at 2.4% on the year. Core expected at 2.5%. Here we go. Here we go, chat. Is the Dow? Yeah, let's take a look. Here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's starting to rise a little bit. Dow is kind of getting hit pretty heavy from all this stuff as well, but the Dow, right in the middle of all this stuff, dipped all the way down to 46s. 46s. This was on the 8th, so this was on Monday for the Dow. Or Sunday, and Monday's open. Yeah. The big dips on the Dow. The S&P 500 went all the way down to 65.80s. It's at 67s right now. Ahead of this report. Nvidia had partnership news earlier this morning. They're slightly green on the day. Oracle still up big from their earnings report. Beat in EPS revenue and raised guidance for Oracle here. And here we go, guys. A couple minutes left. I am going to throw it in sub-only mode. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. You mean the Dow isn't at 50,000? Not anymore. It's not. All right, guys, remember, CPI inflation data dropping in about 6 minutes. We cover this live every single time it releases. We cover it fast. And so hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're going to review everything. I'll never sub. Matt, you are subbed right now. The fact that you're speaking right now means you're subbed, sir. But you knew that already. I like the countdown clock. Gold near all-time highs. Yeah, I mean, gold is one of those. I said this when gold was at about 5,000, but the big winner in all this stuff is gold. Uncertainty makes gold rise, although on a macro way, it can move with markets. Now, there's music. Can you hear the music? My expectation for today's CPI, I'm going to go with as expected, 2.4% today. Gold chopping over and under the previous closing price as well here. But let's prepare. We have less than 5 minutes now here, chat. Yeah, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up on the stream. Here we go. CPI expected at 2.4% and 0.3% on the month. Let me get everything up and ready here. But yeah, we got 5 minutes left, chat. Good morning. Thanks for your hard work. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, PPI showed up hot in the last report for February. So that's the question I have now is what does PPI look like here? Last PPI report was high. Core and regular was high. Might have been the January CPI report. What happens if CPI is 2.4%? I'm really not sure. And remember, guys, I am not an investment professional. We are not liable. If you lose money, make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. This is not investment advice. And we are not liable if you lose money. Understand all this stuff on screen. Be careful today. We have CPI dropping very soon. Very soon. So just be careful. We have about 2,000 people here right now. We got CPI dropping in about 4 minutes. So just be careful. We're going to cover the entire report live as soon as it happens. Just be ready here. Yeah, about 3 minutes left. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. Oh, don't do it. Family, don't do it. I'm doing exactly what you do, holding you responsible. Hey. If CPI goes up, gold goes up. Not necessarily short term. I think gold kind of moves with macro markets short term. So I don't think the correlation with gold is that predictable here with stuff like this. Gold can be an inflation hedge, though, on the other end of that. And so let's just be ready. But yeah. All right, here we go. Couple minutes left, chat. So the U.S. Interior Secretary Burgum says the Texas refinery in Venezuela will help bring down oil and gas prices. There are a lot of options to ensure shipping and energy is open. All right, let me get a... So again, U.S. Interior Secretary Burgum on oil reserves says perfect time to think about releases. These are the kind of moments these reserves are used for, he says. A lot of options to ensure shipping and energy is open. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to put up oil here. And we're preparing ourselves. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All right, guys, we got less than 2 minutes. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. We have about a minute and a half left. If you hit the live button, put it in 2x speed, you won't get delayed on the stream. So hit the live button, put it in 2x speed, and let's see what we get today for inflation data. I really don't know what oil is going to do on this report. I'm watching 25,000 on the NASDAQ. I think 25,000 is a relevant level to pay attention to. Oil's right around the previous closing price. I'm watching $90 for oil. I'm watching 85 for oil. I think those are psychological levels. And again, guys, we got about 1 minute left here for this inflation report. About 1 minute left. Here we go. 40 seconds here, chat. 40 seconds. $30 seconds here. Hit the live button next to the play button. The data is about to release. 1 minute left. Here we go. 15 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're in 2x speed. Here's the data. It's expected again at 2.4% on the year for headline, 0.2% on the year for month over month headline. And here's the report. 3, 2, 1. And here's CPI. Waiting. NASDAQ is up pretty big from this report. CPI showed up at 2.5% for core and 2.4% for headline. 2.4% as expected everywhere for CPI. 0.2% on the month. 2.4% on the year for headline. 0.3% on the month for headline. I got it right again, bro. Again, you're welcome. Again, inflation data showed up as expected today at 2.4% on the year versus 2.4% expected on the month. 0.3% as expected everywhere is basically what this report showed. As expected everywhere. Core inflation, headline inflation, as expected everywhere is what happened here. So basically flat, 2.4% on the year. As expected. We're gonna dig deeper into this, so stick around, chat. We are gonna dig deeper into this because this is a relevant report. We're gonna look at what shelter was and more. We're gonna look at what shelter was and more. So stick around. We're gonna dig through this report and see what everything shows. But shelter is up, is what this is showing here. Shelter is up on this report. And so flat as expected inflation data. Inflation data showed up as expected. Just to summarize like what's in this report just now. Hey, thank you for the donation, brother. Thank you for the donation. Yeah, we showed up at 2.4% year over year as expected. I'm putting this up on screen. 0.2% on the month, 2.4% on the year. As expected. Here is the data release right here. Sorry, I'm getting it up on my screen and we're going to dig through this report. But yeah, there we go. 2.4% as expected. The NASDAQ originally went all the way up to 25.5s here. But yeah, as expected today, guys. Yeah, so I'm looking at deeper. None of we don't have any revisions. All of it was as expected. None of the previous ones were revised. It's all basically the same as what it was last time in terms of revision data here. So we didn't get any big revisions from the previous month's data here. We're looking at shelter today, guys. So shelter showed up at 0.2% for shelter, unadjusted 12-month, 3%. So outcome chart remains the same. Well, we ended up popping up to 2560 here. So we did pop up a pretty big amount up to 2560. But now we're starting to dip down. So we're now under 25,000. That 25 level rejected us. Sometimes with data like this, the first move is the wrong move, but this is also flat as expected data here. So shelter index up 0.2% month over month and 3% on the year. It's the largest single contributor to the monthly all items increase. So shelter did rise. Food overall rose 0.2% on the month. Just to kind of review some of this, food rose 0.2%. You can see shelter here. If we scroll up, shelter's right here, 3% on the year, 0.2% on the month. So unadjusted shelter, 3%, which again, going back to this, was the single largest contributor to the monthly all items increase, was the shelter. Owner's equivalent rent and rent of primary residence both rose 0.2% month over month, while lodging away from home dipped 0.1%. Energy fell 1.5% month over month. But again, we're not really, we haven't really seen the gas price increases that we're going to see from the oil surge that we saw here as well. So the oil dynamic hasn't been taken into effect from this report specifically here. It'll show up in next month's report. And the NASDAQ is not liking this at all. The NASDAQ is falling down. But yeah, food up 0.2%, 2.9% on the year. Yeah, NASDAQ dumping here after this report. Look at the NASDAQ fall. 2.4% as expected. But yeah, shelter being up is bad. It keeps core CPI sticky. It's not especially good for the real economy since it means housing costs are still squeezing consumers on the upside, right? So shelter being up is not good. Oil is starting to spike as well. Hey, thank you for the donation, Wolves. I appreciate it. Thank you, my guy. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Yeah, we got inflation right again, dude. I don't know why I get CPI right. It's the only thing I can consistently guess correctly. It's the only thing I can consistently guess correctly. I don't know why that is either. It's very strange. Oil up to 87.20s. Yeah, is today a red or green day? I'm going to end this poll. And we're going to do another poll right now here, chat. With today's CPI inflation print, are you bullish or bearish? Are you bullish or bearish? Vote on the poll. The poll is now live here. Yeah, oil's guaranteed to go higher now. Yeah, I mean, we should see inflation start to go back up next month, to be honest, for CPI inflation. So we should see inflation start to rise back higher here starting next month. Yeah, looking at the initial votes on the poll that we just did here, 57% are bearish as of now. Out of a couple hundred votes, 57% are bearish here. Let's see if that holds. Yeah, we'll see if that holds. But according to this poll right now, 56% are bearish so far. NASDAQ originally went up and then it fell down, and now it's at 24,950s here. What's the other option on the poll? I need 3 options. Listen, guys, you want to help support the channel? Check out Lucid Trading. Lucid Trading, if you want to learn to day trade, most day traders are going to lose money. Doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow, most day traders are going to lose. And so, because of that, try Lucid. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose. The reality of it is, funding your own account thousands of dollars just to look cool in markets doesn't make sense. You're probably going to lose it in the beginning. Try this. It's a funded account program. They give you a demo. They test your skill with a demo account first. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, the base one is under $100. If you use my link, I think if it's your first time, the first couple times, you get 50% off if you use my link. And yeah, I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. Remember my coupon code here, chat. Weird. Gold is going down. Pump it and dump it. Yeah, stick around, guys. We are going to trade some of this price action. And we do have Bowman starting to speak right now, I think, here. So we do have Bowman starting to speak right now, I think. Let me make sure. But Bowman's supposed to start speaking at 8:30 as well. And we'll stream that if we can find it. But yeah, if you want to check out Lucid, coupon code BT for Lucid. 50% off for new users. Here's the link right here. Great way to help support the channel. They are a sponsor of mine. I am biased, guys. Remember, I am biased. Here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. BT. Use coupon code BT for Lucid. You can also use BT for Apex. If you want to check out Take Profit, it's BG. I'm kind of bearish right now, though, on this report here, Chad. I'm kind of bearish on this report. I think we're going to see rises in inflation in the next report. So I do think the next report should show higher inflation. So Japan's industry minister says the total amount of crude oil to be released by Japan from both private and state reserves will be around 80 million barrels. So Japan is going to release 80 million barrels of reserve oil, apparently, according to the Japan industry minister. 80 million barrels for Japan. And we had earlier that the US and Japan were going to be the largest releases, probably. And yeah, that kind of lines up. 80 million barrels by Japan are going to be released of reserve oil. We'll put this news up here. Looking at our poll, 56% bears. I wonder if this is going to calm oil a little bit here. NASDAQ is holding somewhat here, but it's not holding a lot. What's the impact of the report on Bitcoin? Bitcoin's impact from this report is a little bit more varied. Bitcoin generally wants easing. And so inflation as expected at 2.4%, I would say is probably pretty good for Bitcoin short term. But long term, we really don't know what it's going to do. And originally, Bitcoin moves in a macro way, right? So if we take a look at Bitcoin a lot of the time is going to move with the rest of the market. So if the market goes up, Bitcoin's going to go up. If the market goes down, Bitcoin's going to go down a lot of the time. Most of the time that's what we're going to see. But it's not perfect. It's definitely not like a perfect correlation here. Yeah, it's right around 70,000. The NASDAQ is actually starting to come back up here. I might short this trading here. So we might short this a little bit. Let's try. Yeah, we're going to be trading our... this is our Lucid account. I might short the 200 exponential here. This is a direct to funded. Lucid has a direct to funded option, which I think is really cheap as well. Versus what it is. This is a direct to funded option. It's like 280, I think, if you use my coupon code. I'll have to go see exactly how much it is, but it's not super expensive. If you check out Lucid Trading, their direct to funded option. All right, so we're shorting this. I'm going to add more to this here. We're going to take 5 contracts. But yeah, Lucid has a direct to funding option. It's $238 if you use my coupon code BT at checkout. $238. So we are up about $100 already. I'm going to take a lot of this position off. Look at this drop we got right at the 200 exponential here. We just got to drop so fast here, Chad. I think I have to cover most of it. And we have a couple contracts left here. Just kind of piggybacking off of the already downside move that we have right now. Look at this drop here. Nice. I'm going to add a little bit more down here. Give it some time. If it cracks lows. Okay. If we drop some more. There we go. Take another half off there and lock that in. We're at the bottom of the range, so I do want to start liquidating some of this. But an easy trade so far, man. We've held this thing for what, like a minute? And we just got a big breakdown right at the 200 exponential. Kind of break even on this last piece here, but it's just, there we go. There we go. All right, I'm going to cut it right there and get out. Just really easy trade. It happened fast. Piggybacking off of some of this bearish momentum here, but man. Iran conflict. Let's take a look at yields. I'm sure, like, yields, I don't know how they're going to be affected by this. If we take a look at yields, yields are up a little bit from this report. And so people pricing this in is worse for rate cuts. And look at the NASDAQ crack that low here and still break down. NASDAQ still dropping. Look at yields here. So yields are up from this report, actually. CPI report showed up here. So yields are actually net positive from this report, showing a higher interest rate sentiment. Probably from the shelter dynamic of inflation, I'm assuming. It's causing this to rise. I think that makes sense. The shelter dynamic of inflation causing this. Yeah, I'll put all the firms that I work with in the chat or in the description of this video. Give me a second. I think I forgot to this morning. Do me a favor, guys. Hit the subscribe button. We cover all the economic data you want here. We don't sell a course. We don't sell a service. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I'm kind of like, I'm not one of those guys that's gonna like fabricate my trading gains just so I can sell you guys stuff. I'd rather just be like, hey, not an investment professional. I don't even claim to be a good trader. You want to support somebody like that? Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Yields are up from this report, though. You can see they're currently at 4.19% here, and they're steady rising. So yields are higher. Rate cut odds for this month are super low now. Last time I looked at it, they were under 1%, and yeah, they're still under 1% at 0.6% likely for rate cuts this month. Very improbable that we're going to cut rates. Can you explain bonds again? So bond prices inverse yields. So bond prices go up, yields go down, yields go up, bond prices go down, you know, whatever, however you want to look at it. Interest rate sentiment and yields follow each other. So they're correlated. So like yields go up. Yields go up as markets pricing in higher interest rate sentiment. Yields going down is the pricing in lower interest rate sentiment. And so the story of the CPI report is that we have higher interest rate sentiment from it. Yields are up to almost 4.2%. They're currently sitting, if we look at yields, at 4.19% right now, basically. And again, the report came out here, if you look at it. So yields are up. Shelter being higher is probably what markets are pricing in here. Shelter being up is bad for inflation and the Fed. It keeps core sticky. It's not good for economy since it means housing costs are still impacting consumers. So higher shelter is the biggest reason core inflation stays over 2%, makes the Fed more cautious on cutting rates. And again, shelter index up 0.2% and 3% on the year, the largest single contributor to inflation. Is probably what markets are pricing in here in regards to the downward action that we're seeing in the NASDAQ, in regards to the spike in yields, is probably markets pricing in shelter inflation being higher. So this is the NASDAQ here. And then this is oil on the right. Oil been sideways most of the morning. But yeah. Yeah, the Iran news kind of taken causing CPI inflation to maybe take a little bit more of a back seat here. I think the bigger main event is the payroll report now. Oil up to 87.5s though. So oil is starting to rise. Amazon's targeting 12.5 billion from 8-part euro bond offering according to Bloomberg. 3-month annualized CPI did show up at 3%. 6-month annualized CPI at 2.6%. Annualized core over the last 3 months showed up at 3%. 6-month annualized core showed up at 2.3%. Also, U.S. regulators are planning to relax some capital proposals for Wall Street as soon as next week, according to Bloomberg. Look at oil, though, spiking up a little bit from this 200 exponential previous closing price. We did get news that we're going to start seeing releases. Japan is apparently going to be releasing about 80 million barrels The Japan industry minister says IEA-led coordinated oil reserves release to be agreed. Japan's planned release will be part of that total. Somebody asked about gold here on this report. Gold is net down with the NASDAQ. So gold is net down with the NASDAQ. Silver's down about 3% as well. So we had diplomatic advisor to the United Arab Emirates president saying Iranians are lying when they claim on only attacking U.S. bases in the Gulf. Their attacks hit civilian infrastructure, apparently. Google also completed the acquisition of Wiz. Yeah, so gold down, NASDAQ down. Oil is a little bit higher here at 87s. Pushing towards 88s right now. Oil surging. Yeah, tomorrow we have unemployment claims. Friday we have PCE inflation, which is actually the Fed's preferred inflation metric, and we get the first revision of quarter 4 GDP. The last quarter 4 GDP data showed up noticeably lower than expected. I think they were expecting like 3.2, and we ended up showing at 1.4% last time for quarter 4 GDP in the initial estimate. Now we get a revised version of that on Friday, and we also have the PCE inflation report on Friday as well. We get JOLTS jobs on Friday also, and like somebody said, we get unemployment claims tomorrow. So, and yesterday was interesting. I said this earlier, but yesterday we had news that the U.S. Navy had successfully escorted a ship through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, yesterday we got news of that, and then immediately following that, they backtracked on that. Energy Secretary Wright deleted the post, and so it looks like that actually didn't happen, and him saying that was premature. Since then, there's been escalations and tensions with Iran and more, and so that's kind of where we're at now with everything. But yeah, 3 incidents of missiles in Qatar today, escalating for sure is what I'm showing. Senate Banking Committee chair spoke with Fed Chair Powell, recommended that he comes before the committee to give testimony and get the issue behind them. Yeah, we haven't seen the semi-annual monetary policy report with Powell scheduled. It's been a while since we've seen that. Yeah, the ship did actually get escorted. No, that's what I'm saying. He backtracked, and Energy Secretary Wright ended up deleting that post. So, Wash hearing paperwork came from White House last week. The big move will happen when the market is open. We'll see. We'll see. Looking at our poll here, 53%. It's still a little bit more bulls took control. But 53% today. 53%. Hey, we'll see what happens. But 53% bearish. Is that true? So CPI out. As expected, 2.4%. Shelter is up. Big story. Steve has a lot of friends today. I don't even know if you can see Steve here in Texas, guys. And again, now that the data is out, where are you guys from? But right now it's kind of overcast in Texas here. Like it's kind of dark. Today it's not really super light outside. It's kind of, the heck is that guy saying? Yeah, it's kind of dark and rainy and overcast here in Texas. Jupiter, Massachusetts. Steve the Bear is who he's talking about. I don't know if y'all can see it right now, but Charlotte. Yeah, the time changed, Rambo. Listen, here in the US, we have what's called daylight savings time. On Sunday last week, we lost an hour. I think markets are still kind of getting baked into that, though, to be honest. Quebec. Yeah, it's cold, brother. That's cold. New York City. Yep. Everything as expected. That's what I thought we would show up as today, too. I thought we would show up as expected. Salesforce confirms it is to sell debt. The CRM. Oracle up big on earnings. Hasn't really moved much. Look at oil still rise here, though, guys. Oil at $88 a barrel right now. NASDAQ starting to flush down. We're under 25,000. I don't mind these boring market conditions. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, CPI used to get a lot of hype, and now it's kind of settled down a little bit just because of the war in Iran and everything going on there, to be honest. Oil $140 a barrel end of year. We did have, who said it earlier? It was one of Iran's leaders came out earlier saying that they will not allow a liter of oil to pass through the strait. And that prepare for $200 a barrel oil. I can't remember who it was that said it, but it was one of the leaders there. I hope they're wrong. I hope oil does not hit $200 a barrel for everybody's good here. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now. $104 a barrel end of day. It could happen. Oil's up to 88. I don't know if it's going to hit 104. In order for oil to hit 104 today, we need big escalation news. Like, stuff would have to hit the fan in terms of escalation for us to hit 104 today. It's possible. It's just unlikely. It's possible, though. If we could get $1,000 a barrel oil. Nah, bro. Nah, we're not gonna hit 1,000 a barrel. Stick around, guys. We are gonna be day trading live today. $1 a barrel. Yeah, the NASDAQ trying to bounce here. I already shorted and made some money from the CPI report. I kind of have to wait here, though. I don't really want to get too greedy with this, and I still think we could have choppiness today, but... So Francis Macron is planning to speak after G7 call later on today, apparently. CPI unchanged, 2.4% in line with expectations. Core, as expected, 2.5%. So core CPI inflation before the Iran war was at its lowest in 5 years. But the March data is going to be the big data. Again, March data is going to be the one where the recent conflict is taken into account in terms of oil spiking here, right? I think that's why we've seen a negative reaction from this, is because shelter inflation rose, and next month it's probably going to get worse. Core CPI 2.5% as expected, though. NASDAQ bouncing up. Do I short this here, guys? I gotta wait. We have we still got a couple minutes here. But is there an echo? I don't think there's an echo. It might just be on your end, friend. In your opinion, do you think you're shorting the NASDAQ the whole day? Not necessarily here. I think it depends on the price action. I can't really say if I'm shorting it all day. Like if we head back up over 25,000 and then pull back to it, I'll probably take a long and look for a continuation. Or if we chop sideways, if we go sideways in markets like this and we kind of go up and down and up and down, where we're kind of chopping sideways like this, I don't mind buying the bottoms here and looking for a rise to the top of the range up here. But it just depends on the price action. I can't really say which direction I'm going to be trading today, especially ahead of the opening bell. I can't really say if I'm going to be going super long or super short today. We took one short here, and I think shorts make more sense now as long as you can bounce backs to like this level here. I think shorts make a lot of sense, especially with the fear and inflation and all that stuff. Markets reacting negatively to higher shelter inflation. But it's not necessarily universal all day. It's not something in which I can just say, yeah, I'm just going to short all day. If we keep dropping, sure. If we keep dipping down and falling down, sure. Like if we keep just flush, yes, I will short bounces and stuff like that. But if we do a red to green move or a V-shaped recovery and we dip and then we come all the way back up and hold and start to go back higher here, I'll go long in situations like that. So I just have to wait for it. I'm watching yields as well here, guys. Yields still high. They're at 4.18% right now for yields if we take a look at them. So yields are getting close to 4.2% again. You can see 4.189%. So yields were already up on the day, and after this inflation report, they're even higher. So what do you think Friday's report's going to look like? I really don't know. PC inflation can be volatile as well. So I'm really not sure what we're going to get for Friday's report. No echo here. Yeah, oil rose, but oil's starting to dip down now. So oil's starting to pull back. I don't mind, like, we have this range here in oil. I think a lot of it just depends on what goes on, though. So Japan's industry minister is saying, our decision to release oil reserves unilaterally is aimed at responding swiftly as Japan would suffer the greatest impact from the Strait of Hormuz closure. So Japan's industry minister speaking. Yeah, y'all would never hear the end of it. I predicted CPI right again. Y'all would never hear the end of this. You know? The question is, how could I predict it correctly? But remember, inflation data, shelter inflation up 0.2% on the month and 3% on the year. It's the largest single contributor to inflation data today is shelter inflation. I think that's the big story of why NASDAQ is net down from this report. By picking the expected outcome. The last time I didn't predict the expected outcome. The last time I said it was higher than expected and it was higher. The time before that, I think it was lower than expected and it was lower. So I wish I had insider information. You're a sensible man? Well, I'd like to believe that, you know. Top 3 most sensible ever here, guys. All right, guys, oil's coming back down. NASDAQ is starting to rise back up here. Let's check out news. U.S. Navy says USS Mustin is going to forward deploy to Japan. Again, Japan's industry minister says our decision to release oil reserves unilaterally is aimed at responding swiftly. Japan would suffer the greatest impact from the Strait of Hormuz closure. And remember, look at oil dip here, though, guys. Wow, look at oil fall. Oil is now technically red on the day right now. We're at 24,970s here. What's your favorite food? Probably pizza. I love pizza. I can't eat it as much as I'd like to. But okay, so Saudi Arabia tells OPEC its oil supply to the market in February is 10.1 million barrels per day and production was 10.882 million barrels per day. So OPEC plus crude output averaged 42.72 million BPD in February 2026, up 444,000 BPD from January. They leave 26-27 forecast for global oil demand growth unchanged, and they said current geopolitical developments require close monitoring, and their impact, if any, on its global economic growth forecast may be too early to determine. OPEC. And so you can see oil dipping down here, and the NASDAQ rising up. Here's 25,000. It's also right around the volume weighted average price here. So yeah, the global oil demand growth forecast for 26 remains at a healthy 1.4 million barrels per day year over year, unchanged from last month's assessment. I like burgers a lot too, to be honest. Like, my whole family gets mad at me because I eat too many burgers, you know. Cry, man. You ever see that movie in This Is 40 where, like, the guy eats a cupcake and then the wife's pissed at him for eating the cupcake? That's my life, dude. I eat a pizza, my daughter's upset. My wife's upset. I eat a hamburger, my wife's upset. My daughter's upset. I appreciate the fact that they care, but let me eat my pizza in peace here, you know. You're American, John. Burgers are a national symbol. I eat burgers for America, is what I think, you know. Like, every time I eat one, I'm like, you know what? America. You guys know. Yeah, I'm just kind of sitting tight here. We're close to, we're over the 200 exponential on the NASDAQ right here. We're green on the day. I don't want to give it back. I'm watching yields as well. Yields have been moving up. Yeah, you know. I train enough jujitsu that I think I could. This is my argument to my wife, at least. It's like, hey, baby, listen. I train enough to compensate for the burgers. You know? Like, if I wasn't active, it'd be bad. But I'm pretty active as a person, so I think I can handle it. I think, you know. All right, guys. Oil now technically green on the day. Again, it dipped below the previous closing price for just a split second. It did actually hold, but it dipped below the previous close for just a little while. NASDAQ is up net over the past 20 minutes. It's still net red, though, from CPI, I think. CPI showed up right here. And so we are down slightly. CPI showed up when we were right around 25K. We're now at 24,970s, but we're over the 200 exponential. So too many differing signals here. I got to wait. Also, we just got news that TikTok and Apple Music have launched an exclusive playful song feature, allowing Apple Music subscribers to listen to full music playback without leaving TikTok. Oil back red on the day here. Look at oil dip right now. So oil is back red. Went all the way down to the volume weighted average price. Iran is attacking two ships in the Strait of Hormuz, apparently. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it attacked two vessels in the strait after they ignored warnings. One of them, again, was a Thai-flagged carrier, and the other one was a Liberian-flagged Express Rome. White House spokesperson says CPI report shows us the economy is strong. Do you guys agree with that? Let me know. Again, White House saying CPI report shows that the economy is strong. What was CPI month over month? It showed up at what? 0.3%. No. %, fake numbers. No rate cuts next week. Yeah, we're not cutting rates next week, guys. I'll tell you this now. We are not cutting interest rates next week. Anybody that tells you we are cutting rates, with all due respect, has no freaking idea what they're talking about. We are not cutting rates next week. Unfortunately, not unless we get some craziness happen. Like maybe if PCE inflation showed up like a full percentage point lower than expected year over year, and the Jones job report showed massive signs of weakening. But even still, like that's not going to noticeably change the outlook for rate cuts next week. So we are not going to be cutting rates next week, guys. It's just not happening. NASDAQ is right here. We just tapped 25K. I'll trade if we get some good action here, but I gotta wait for it. Yeah. Very flat market. Or you could argue that manufacturing and production are aiding and subduing inflation. Perhaps that's their angle. Yeah. Yeah, so we already showed this. White House spokesperson says CPI report shows us that the economy is strong. If somebody argues we are cutting interest rates, it means they need exit liquidity. Bull or bear for the open? Chat, we did a poll. Let's take a look at it. 53% are bearish for the opening bell. 47% are bullish. 53% bearish. 43% bullish here today. Let's see what we get, though. All right, we rejected right here at 25,000. Bear. I can't trade Wednesday for some reason. Some days are just better for trading overall. It really doesn't have much to do with the day of the week. It has to do with the market, like what the market's doing. Market can do a lot of different stuff, but it has to do with what the market's doing. Yields are up, usually equities go down after the dust settles. Maybe, yeah. Bull. Man, the way that you are so certain to cut rates. Not this month. We're not cutting rates this month. Again, if we cut rates this month, what's a good, like, look. If we cut rates this month, you can call me dummy for a month straight, and I can only respond to dummy. The whole chat. Y'all can call me dummy for a whole month straight for 30 days if we cut interest rates next week. But what do I get if I'm right here? I mean, it's pretty easy to be right on this. It's like, what are the odds now? 99.5% chance that we're going to pause rates next week. Yeah, we'll see. NASDAQ still breaking down here. We're at 24s, 25s, but still a big range, but rangy day. I could short this right here. I'm thinking about shorting this. You get pizza? What kind of pizza? New Haven pizza? You know? Alright, I might short this on the NASDAQ. We get a little retracement higher here. There we go. I'm going to short this. We're going to slowly scale into this, to be honest. There we go. This is a Lucid direct account as well, guys. You want to check out Lucid? They have a direct to funding option. It's like $238 if you use my link for the base one. Really useful. Use coupon code BT. You're going to get 50% off if you're new. I'm not Dave Portnoy, but I do like a crunchy, thin sliced pizza. That's like my favorite. All right, so we have 2 micro contracts here. I'm going to add to this if we go green. See if we break down more towards lows. Although I do think macroeconomic stuff and geopolitical stuff can move markets a lot today. So I just got to be a little careful here. All right, we're green. We're going to add a little bit more to that. Take 4 contracts now and give it a second here. We got a pretty big cushion on the day. So I believe we can break down here. Let's see if we do. What do we have? 20 minutes until the open. Yeah, my risk here is about 75, but I want to see if we flush down right now. There we go. We're kind of flat now. You got to give this a second, I think, here. I'm going to let it challenge the 200 exponential, but 75 is my risk right up here. So I hope we don't hit it, but if we do, we're still green. We'll day trade a little bit heavier at the open. We just tapped my level here. We'll let it test. Yeah, I got to cut it right there. So we're out. We're still green on the day, though, but less green now. Just got a big jump there. We're kind of squeezing over the 200 exponential. Yeah, we did get the OPEC report earlier. We had news that 2 different ships got attacked in the Strait of Hormuz recently over the last few days, over the last few hours. One of them was a Thai flagged carrier. The other one was a Liberian flagged express carrier. Look at that fake out, dude. We just got faked out here. Look at the flush right back down here. We got up to 82. My risk was 75. That's all right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to check the numbers there. Yeah, we'll see when we get the semi-annual monetary policy report. Like, we'll see when we get it. But we did have some news that they're urging Powell to go ahead and get that stuff scheduled. It usually happens in February, so it's very odd that we haven't gotten it by mid-March right now. Usually the report happens in February, though. So, again, very strange that we haven't gotten the semi-annual monetary part, first part, this year yet. I'm guessing it's the subpoena. He's just hesitant to do anything because of that, is my guess. But Bitcoin here. Where's Bitcoin? Yeah, Bitcoin is rising here. Look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin kind of wants easing, so maybe this means more easing, but lower inflation data here. See if we start to flush back down here, but Bitcoin rising higher. NASDAQ is so choppy today, though, man. Maybe markets just don't know what it wants. Nestle has filed to sell US-denominated debt via a 3-parter. Yeah, Bitcoin's up. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin back up to almost 70,000. It just tapped 70,000 right here. Look, here's 70K right there. So the big problem with today's inflation report is that shelter was higher. And this is not even including the oil swings that we saw this month in March. So this is February's report, so it cut off right before the oil swing started here. So that's kind of the problem. And I'm watching the NASDAQ here. We're just kind of sideways though. We're not really doing anything that looks good. We do have 25,000 right above us here though. See what oil does. We're watching oil prices surge. German foreign minister says Germany has temporarily relocated certain missions abroad, including Tehran and 2 missions in Iraq because of the security situation in the Middle East. All right, NASDAQ's popping back higher here, but we have, what, 13 minutes until the opening bell? $13 minutes until the market open, guys. Just wondering if we trend sideways here now. NASDAQ pulling back. $25,000 is right above us. Look at oil surge back higher here. Remember earlier today, Iran said they're switching from reciprocal hits, which is basically like you hit us, I hit you, to continuous strikes, and warns that they'll drive oil prices to $200 a barrel. They said not 1 liter of oil will get through the strait if it's going towards U.S. or other allied countries. So, will we see $200 a barrel here soon? We're heading into the market open in 10 minutes here today, guys. We'll see what we get. Yeah, I'm watching oil. We're going to see if oil continues to pop here, but the NASDAQ's slowly climbing higher here, slowly. We got to creep, watch it. Try to creep up. Opening bell is in about 10 minutes, so we'll see if we get anything good in 10 minutes, but... trying to get higher here. We're right around the volume weighted average price. Went up to the VWAP and rejected here. Oil coming down though. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green candles in the NASDAQ here. 7 green candles ahead of the open. Still pushing up. Here's 25,000 here on the NASDAQ. So let's see if we hold now. I thought Bowman was supposed to be speaking today. I guess she didn't say much about markets here. Bitcoin's ripping. Yeah, Bitcoin over 70K as we speak here. Look at Bitcoin. 70,000+ now. Bro, why does this song keep showing up, dude? No matter how hard I find the song, it keeps showing up. Prep for the short at the high it formed. Also, another funded account program you can check out if you want to help supporters is Take Profit. Take Profit has some of the most relaxed rules in the game here for Take Profit Trader. So again, Take Profit, some of the most relaxed rules in the game. You can use my coupon code BG on Take Profit. Great way to learn when most day traders lose. Perfect way to learn is a funded account program like Take Profit. You can use my coupon code BG if you want to help support the channel. I'll put the link up here. But again, some of the most relaxed rules in the game. Once you're over the buffer on Take Profit, you can take daily payouts as well. And so if you want to check them out, here's the link. Again, you can use my coupon code BG for Take Profit. It's BT for Lucid. So we have the Lucid one pinned to the top of the chat if you want to check it out. But here's Take Profit's link right there. Again, I think you get 40% off Take Profit right now if you use my coupon code. Using my coupon code BG will get you the max discount, whatever it is. I think it's 40% if I remember correctly. But yeah, look at Bitcoin. NASDAQ over 25,000. Here's the previous closing price. So the NASDAQ is almost green on the day now. It's not quite there yet. Up to over 25K. Look at oil dip. So oil under the volume weighted average price. The NASDAQ is still rising here, chat. I'm looking at news here, but I think markets are possibly getting priced into the opening bell right now. NASDAQ is now over 25,000. Will CPI cause craziness of the market open, or will we continue to see kind of sideways action? Look, we're up to 25.22s right now, 25.20s. Bitcoin's still rising. Yields slowed down a little bit, but they're still at 4.187%, almost 4.2%. The news was as expected. CPI was basically as expected today. Yeah, so news was basically flat. Yes, so yeah, CPI is as expected. Looks like chop. I'll scalp today. Maybe not a bad plan. The last couple of minutes hasn't been choppy though. We've started to push up some. So the last few minutes hasn't been choppy, but let's see if the market on open affects things right now. NASDAQ's still climbing here. Look at this big rebound. Yeah, we got a big rebound today. Look at this move. Data came out right here. Just to put this in perspective, we are now technically green from the CPI report. Data came out right here. So we are now over that. We're over 25,000 as well. So the moves ahead of the opening bell are bullish, but the opening bell could change that. Oracle to 200. I'm for it. I'm in Oracle right now. I want Oracle to go up. We'll see. More bullish at the opening bell. Bull or bear? Give me your last minute predictions. We have like 2 minutes left. 2.5 minutes. So, flat CPI data today, as expected. See if we dip back down here. Bitcoin pump. Hey, it's pumping. It's at 70 plus now, which is good. My portfolio is really green. Oracle's certainly helping it today. Nike and Netflix also boosting my portfolio a little bit higher here. NASDAQ has continued higher here. It had a couple red candles finally. It didn't have a red candle for like 20 minutes on the NASDAQ. So we have about a minute and a half left. Japan's industry minister says the plan is to release oil reserves by late this month, late March. Shipping through the Strait of Hormuz remains mostly suspended, but vessel tracking data shows a slight uptick in Iran and China-linked traffic, including 2 sanctioned VLCCs fully loaded with crude. 8 commercial transits were recorded yesterday on Tuesday, with 4 more early Wednesday this morning. Recent incidents include a couple of different vessels getting hit, though. So again, Japan's going to start releasing oil from national reserves starting around late this month. Short at the opening bell. Short. Bullish at the opening bell. Yeah, I really don't know. I think we pushed up a lot the last few minutes. We got less than a minute before the open, though, right now. But I think we pushed up a lot the last few minutes here. All right, guys, here we go. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Let's see what we get. All right, here's the bell, guys. Good luck. NASDAQ popped at the opening bell. It's at 2560s right now. Oil back down to 85.5. So we'll be trading this. But we got to give it some time. NASDAQ popped, though, at the opening bell. And really, this is after it's been popping up ahead of the opening bell. Look at the NASDAQ rip up to almost 25 ones right now for the NASDAQ here. In terms of market news, you know, we got a bunch more stuff later this week here. But, man, we got GDP data coming out Friday. PCE inflation data Friday. Tomorrow we have jobless claims, building permits, housing starts. It's still too early to tell. I mean, look, we're green at the open, but that doesn't mean anything yet. Sometimes the first move at the open is the wrong move, so it really doesn't mean anything yet. So SLB, the world's largest oil-field services provider, has halted some operations and employee travel in the Middle East due to regional instability. They said measures will continue until conditions stabilize and will resume activity gradually. They warned disruptions will reduce first quarter revenue, sending its shares down 2.3%. If we take a look at SLB here, they're down a little bit today, but all HSBC branches in Qatar closed until further notice as well. All right, guys, here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ still up over 25,000 here. It's at 2570s. Bitcoin's still rising at 70.4K right now. Yeah, we're not cutting rates this month. Does anybody think we're cutting rates? Yeah, I gotta wait. I'm not trading this right now. Oil's flat. NASDAQ is very green over the last 20 or 30 minutes. Bitcoin is rising, but I have to let things settle first. We're about 2 minutes into the day, so just give me a little bit and we'll trade. Yeah, I hope Oracle continues to rise here. Ooh, it is. PayPal up big on the day too here. NASDAQ still pumping up here. Here's 25 100s. I'm watching 25 ones here. I think that's a relevant level. And look at oil dump. So here's 25 ones. Look at oil fall. 85 20s here for oil. WTI crude, that is. CL crude. Are you red or green today on the day, guys? Are you red or green? Look at oil. NASDAQ pushing up, oil pushing down. All right, so I asked people, are they red or green? Vincent says red. Ross says green. Thug Buffett says green. INW says green. Michelle says green. Can someone tell me the CPI number now? It might be in big red banner as well as rolling on the bottom of the screen. It might be. I'm not saying it is. It could be, though. It's possible it is. Stoic says red. Says green. Clifford says green. John says green. Chef says green. Zero Cool says green. Fluorescent green. Hey, that's good, brother. That's good. CPI got me in a tough spot. It was bad. Oil falling and the NASDAQ ripping here. Oil back down to 84.80s, 84.60s right now for oil. Oil's dropping as we speak here. Look at oil on the left side. I'm up almost 1%. CPI showed up at 2.4% as expected today. Since everybody's asking me, I'm just going to remind you guys, I guessed it correctly again. You know? You'll never hear the end of it, guys. This is my second one in a row. Is HIMS up? I sold HIMS after the Novo news. I'm kind of mad at Novo because I got out of HIMS because of Novo coming after them about what they considered, what did they call it? They got after them about lower quality weight loss drugs and said that they were going to sue them and all this stuff. And HIMS ended up dropping like 50% from it. I'm like, all right, I'm out. And then they basically came out like a week ago, maybe a few days ago, and said, hey, never mind, we're dropping those charges. We're not coming after them anymore. And then HIMS just flies back up, goes right back to where it was. I'm not going to say it's manipulation. Maybe I was just wrong. And nobody cries manipulation more than somebody that's wrong about a stock. With that said, definitely manipulation. Definitely manipulation. But yeah, HIMS is up big. NASDAQ is still pushing up as well here. Over 25 ones. Again, I'm looking at 25 ones as resistance. See if we can get over that and hold. CPI's out already. Gold futures are right here. GC / GC is gold futures. That 51.80s, it's not really moving a lot since the bell. Silver is / SI for silver. That $85 an ounce, 86 an ounce. A lot of these are going back and forth. Yeah, here's NASDAQ. We've had 5 minutes of chop since the opening bell, though. We pushed up really big right at the open and right before the open, and then we've basically chopped sideways since then. So I'm just waiting here. We don't have any 10 a.m. data coming out, so I'm just sitting tight. Follow the breadcrumbs. Yeah. All right, look at silver start to dip. I'm still watching oil here. Oil at 85 a barrel. Yeah, I don't think this is easy price action to trade. You know, we remember prior to all this chop right here, we talked about 25,100, and look at this. We hit 2,500. Now we're starting to try to make a push over it, but there we go. There's the break of 25 ones. We rejected it like right at it for 5 minutes or more. Now we're over it though. I don't trust it necessarily here. Not really easy price action to profit from, I think, right now. A lot of stuff going on, causing uncertainty. All right, we're at 25.9s here. Back under 25.1s. Oil back down to $85 a barrel even right now. If you look at oil on the left. Oracle, my best trade of the year. Yeah, I stayed in Oracle. I really considered selling it, to be honest, before yesterday. But I stayed in it. It worked. I'm even green in Snapchat right now. I bought Snapchat. Like, I threw 100 shares at it not that long ago. I don't trust it. Hard to monetize. But hey, we're green. Microsoft's green. Netflix. Still one of my best trades. Netflix, Nike, Coca-Cola. Bitcoin here, guys. Yields. If we take a look at yields right now, I'm looking at yields since the open. They're kind of unchanged at 4.183%. Bitcoin, guys. Look at Bitcoin right now. 71,000. Yeah, I want to trade, but I'm not going to force it just to give you guys something to watch here. Like, look, this is the price action right now. It's not really easy. It's sideways, fake outish. I'm just not trying to jump on board that. Slightly upward trending range, but oil's down. NASDAQ slightly trending higher. But it's not really clean. All right, maybe another push here, though. We consolidated, maybe picked up some strength. Let's see if we go back higher. There's no way we get rate cuts until at least the third or fourth quarter. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's looking like we're getting any rate cuts anytime soon. Inflation's okay, but the labor market, you know, has been back and forth. But I think next month we're going to start to see oil impacting inflation. And so that's going to push back rate cut odds even more, I think, right now. NVIDIA here. Slightly green on the day, but yeah, I bought Oracle after the big pullback. I was red in it for a while, but I kind of stayed. So my average price in Oracle is probably I don't know what it is. Average price of Oracle is 166. It's at 170 basically right now, so that's good enough. Yeah, Palantir, I'm sure, is one of the big winners in all this conflict news. Up to 150s. Works with the defense. And it's a defense name. That's really what this is. 152s. Alright, NASDAQ now over 25.1s again. But not doing anything here. boring right now, guys. Yeah, Bitcoin over 70,000 again. It didn't quite break 71s, but it's trying. It got over 71s for a second, but didn't quite hold. And so now it's pulling back some here. I'm going to take some profit in PayPal, I think, here, guys. Like, we're getting a little bounce back here in PayPal, which is good and all. But, we just took a little bit off of PayPal. Oracle, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I'll decide today. I don't know what I'm doing. Again, I'm not an investment professional, guys. I'm not liable. If you lose, make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional here. Yeah, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with Oracle. NASDAQ now dipping down here, so we couldn't really hold over 25 ones. Oil is stagnant as well, though, over the last 5 minutes. Carlisle Energy says no policy move can stop crude's rise. Jeff Curry says no policy move can stop crude, even with a Middle East ceasefire, supply chain disruptions for misplaced ships, canceled insurance, and slowed output in Saudi and Iraq. And United Emirates will take months to fix. He called oil reserve releases a minuscule offset to the ongoing disruption, according to him. So, all right, here's the NASDAQ pulling back some. We got this big rise and then this dip. Maybe I'll buy this dip. Let's try it. I'll try to buy a little bit here. You know, maybe. We bought 2. We'll add to it if we go green. Bottom of the opening range here is what we're buying, but I'd love a 120 price target here, but gotta give it a second as well. There we go. There's a pop. A very nice bounce here. I'm gonna add to this now. Take 4. Take some off. Maybe add back on a dip here. There we go. We're green on the day still, but I'm gonna take 6 now. We're gonna leave it here. Take profit quickly if we can rebound back higher towards the top. There we go. There we go. Take another half off there. We have 3 left. Give it a second. I'm gonna take another one off here just to protect this a little bit more. I'd like to see it continue to rise, but a little bit less risk. We'll hold on this last 2 since we have such green here, but yeah, not the pullback we wanted. We're a little red now on this one, but let's see if it goes back higher. Bottom of the range. I don't know if I'm going to add to this. We're still green on this trade, but all right, now we're not. Now we are still, but got a piece of this left here though. I want to see if it'll run. Want to size back in on the dip maybe. Here we go. If the bounce continues. A lot of indecision right now, I think. There we go. This is not good to trade. This is not good price action, I think, right now. It's kind of going back and forth. I'm gonna have to start cutting this here. We're just breaking down too much. I wanted to give it a chance, but you see all the volume stacked up against this just means like this is where all the volume is. We might start trending down now that we break underneath the volume profile here, but we'll wait. Yeah, Oracle's that big. I am liking this in my portfolio for sure, but all right, everything's still kind of breaking down though here. What time is it? It's almost 10. I don't think we have any 10 o'clock news. Nope. Bowman speaking about bank oversight, but nothing really that's going to move things like that. Let's see if we can take a long here. I'm going to try to jump back in here. Give this bounce a little bit more time. I got faked out once, but I'm being stubborn with it. We'll take half off. Give the rest some time. Try to hold the rest break even. I might let it test a little bit if it drops, but I want to see a big bounce here. One. There we go. Take another piece off here. Yeah, the opening range breakout here, guys. This is something that I forgot about today. It's kind of like I have this script for it. I just didn't pull it up. We had so much stuff going on with CPI and everything like that. I didn't even think about looking for an orb today. But let me put my script up here and see what we're looking like in terms of a 15-minute orb. Oh man, I'm gonna cut it. We are green on the day on this account, but red on the other one for sure. But yeah, here's the 15-minute orb. If we take a look at it, we are breaking the bottom of it here now. So the Ombre says oil storage facilities have reportedly been struck in the port of Amman, Salalah. IEA executive director to deliver a statement on energy markets at 15 CET today. Long or short right here, guys. Long or short. If we get a bounce up to, like, I would say here on the Q, I'll short. We need a bounce though. So we need a pop. We'll give it a second. And again, this is a Lucid direct to funded account. Lucid does have a direct to funded option. If you haven't seen that yet here, a direct to funded option is available for Lucid. It's only $238 if you use my link here, I think. So if you check it out, Lucid, great rules. One of the, you know, I think some of the best deals in the funded space. Direct to funded option, $238. A lot of cool stuff too. So you check it out. If you use my coupon code BT at checkout, $238 right here. You can see $238 for the 25K Lucid. 50K is $364. So if you don't want to have to pass the test and you want to just go direct to funded, here's that bounce I was talking about. But this is such a large bounce. I don't think I'm gonna mess with this here. Again, use coupon code BT for Lucid. BT. Here's the link. Check it out. Great way to help support the channel. I'll put the link up in chat right there. Yeah, this is such a large bounce back. I have to kind of wait here. And this is after the Ombre oil storage facility reportedly struck in Port of Amman. Port control reportedly advised all vessels to prepare for departure. No damage to merchant vessels reported. I'm going to short this again, see if we flush back down after breaking the bottom range here. We'll add to this now, 2, 3. The heck are they saying on my song here? I don't know what that says. There we go. Green, I'm going to take a piece off here. Scalping this on the breakdown. We have 2 contracts left. We retrace up. I'm going to short back into this here. Ugh. Faked me out. We'll give it a second though. Oh, he popped right back down, but man. We're kind of back and forth on this account. Now we're break even again, but I'd love to see a big breakdown here. It's just difficult to catch right now. Looks like we got some bear pressure here, but it's not really even. And one catalyst can move this up or down too today, so just be careful today, guys. Back to flat. Now we're green. I'm going to take him immediately half off. We were just red for so long in this trade that once we start breaking down, I'm going to cover some. There we go. Cover a little bit more, and we'll hold this last piece a little bit longer here. Just because it's not easy to capitalize on profit today here, I think. We flush down some more. We're about to run into some of that structure on the volume profile though, so I'm going to cut out right there. All right, we're green. February jobs market is the most weak since the pandemic. BlackRock cuts credit funds. Yeah, I would just be careful. We got a lot of back and forth action today. Like I'm trying to capitalize on some of the structure in the volume profile here, where we have like here's where all the it's centralized right here. So a lot of the time we can chop in these areas, but target these areas here and look for the flush back down, but it's not easy right now. It's kind of spread out. Hey, thank you, Sublime. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, sir. Yeah, what are you talking about, Randy? What do you mean golden age alert? What are you talking about? I don't see any alert from the president recently. All right, so Iran's new leader apparently suffered a fractured foot and some lacerations on the first day of the war, some sources say. All right. Tesla up to 411s. Oracle green since the bell. PayPal popped a little bit today too, and we're in PayPal. Home Depot's down though. We're in Microsoft as well. It was more green. It went up to 409s. But yeah, if you're saying random stuff that's not true, I will ban you. All right, look at oil just dip heavy here to 84s. NASDAQ back over 25s. Starting to regain some strength. I'm really tempted to buy this little micro pullback here, and I think I will. We'll add to it if it goes more green. That's what the plan is. The top of the range, but I think the momentum is up. Yeah, there we go. All right, we have 4 contracts here. There we go. Take half off. See if we could rise some more. Cut the rest flat. We made money on the trade. Yeah, we're still pushing here, but volatile. Trying to make sure this isn't breaking news coming out. How's that getting up there? Bro, I got too many windows up trying to watch everything here, dude. There it is. Okay. Here's another account I'm in right now. We're up 200 on this pop. I'm going to cover into this pop right here. And the winning streak on this account continues here, dude. Look at this huge rip right now. Oman says drones struck fuel tanks at the Salalah port. No human casualties. Trump tells Axios there's practically nothing left to target in Iran. This is the news that's causing markets to pop here. Oil to dip. This is the news right now. So this is the news. I'll show you guys this. Hold on. I got too many windows up right now. This is the news right here. That is the news influencing markets right now. Market ripped on this news though. Yeah, look at this account that we're on here over the last few months. There's great accuracy here. Check this out up to today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 2 losing days out of 15. We don't trade it every day, but our accuracy there is pretty good. Yeah, the news that the president said there's virtually nothing left to hit there tells Axios there's practically nothing left to target. The IEA recommendations agree to a 400 million barrel release as well. So that is driving things here. The JOLTS job report doesn't come out until Friday here, guys. The JOLTS job report comes out Friday. It's not today. Yeah, so Bowman's supposed to speak, but the JOLTS job report comes out Friday, along with PCE, inflation, and GDP data. It's expected at 6.84 million. Last time it showed up at 6.54. Oil is starting to rise back up, though. Officials prepare for at least 2 more weeks of strikes, according to Axios. IEA members agreed to release 400 million barrels of oil. The president said there's practically nothing left to target in Iran and says the war will end soon, according to Axios. He said, "It quote, anytime I want it to end, it will end," end quote, U.S. president. Yeah, here's the news on the bottom of the screen. We do have an upward trend movement here, though. Just with this Axios news coming out, it's a little bit more volatile and risky. Bitcoin went up to almost 71,000 and then dipped back down here, though. Let me exit out. I'm in so many different... I'm not saying I believe or don't believe what he says. This is, like, again, I'm not really political here. The IEA's bureau says oil market challenges are unprecedented. But yeah, I'm not really, like, look, I'm not really one to choose sides or anything like that. Everybody always likes to pick sides. I'm pretty neutral on all this stuff. So. This does look bullish here today, but I don't think it's an easy direction. Okay, so IEA's bureau will give a statement at 14 GMT, 15% Central Time, 15 Central Time on the situation in global energy markets. IEA says it proposed largest releases of strategic oil reserves in history after they agreed to 400 million barrel release. They said the oil market challenges are unprecedented, the conflict having major impact on global energy market and stock availability based on national circumstances. No, dude, you're not playing today. Huh? Tomorrow. Alright, guys, sorry. Yeah, I should have bought this dip at 25.1s. We broke over that support level. Again, officials are preparing for at least 2 more weeks of strikes, according to Axios. Yeah, I don't know what to do here, guys. I mean, we've traded off at 1 today, but it's not really easy to kind of find a good direction today. Looks like it looks green to be honest, but you don't really freaking know here. You know, like we really don't know here. Oil is back up as well, so I'm kind of waiting to see what this does. Should I buy this dip here? What do you guys think? I'll buy this big pullback right here real quick. Hold on, can you guys see that? Yeah. Alright, so we're buying this big dip, although as long as it's not catalyst related here. Alright, so we're now green on this. I want to see if we retrace fast. There we go. Came right back down. Now we're flat. Let's see. There we go. It's better. If it holds up here though. There we go. Alright, we're gonna take one off. Go, took another 2 contracts here. There we go. Took that off. Cut it right there. Ride that bounce. Hey, later, chef. Have a good day, brother. It says IEA will continue to closely monitor global oil and gas markets. IEA Secretariat will provide further details on how this collective action will be implemented in due course. Release of strategic oil reserves would take place over a time frame that is appropriate to the national circumstances of each member country. But again, they agreed to release 400 million barrels of oil to address the conflict. Alright, yeah, tomorrow we have jobless claims job report going live, so just remember, we do have a jobless claims job report going live tomorrow. Also, guys, hit that subscribe button. We're very close to hitting 170,000 subscribers. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We will be back live tomorrow morning, as we always are. And, yeah, we'll see what we get. Let me go ahead and schedule tomorrow's stream real quick. All right, chat. Yeah, well, the data's already out here. So, data's already out. Yeah, somebody said the president's supposed to speak as well. Look at the NASDAQ still coming back down though here. Hey, later, Toddy. Have a good day. Yeah, NASDAQ's still trying to hold here, but kind of just sideways now. All right, guys. Anyways, I'm going to cut out of here again. Check out Lucid, promo code BT. If you want to help support the channel, Lucid has direct to funding options and more. Genuinely pretty useful here. So check out Lucid. Again, I'll put the link up, or check out the link in the description. You can check out Take Profit as well. Take Profit have some of the most relaxed rules in the game. Daily payouts once you're up with a buffer. If you like Apex, you can check them out as well. All the codes are going to be in the description to get you the max discounts. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much, guys. I'm going to cut out of here. Again, as soon as I close the stream, it'll bring you to tomorrow's stream. So I'll see you guys over there. Good luck.